How bad is a
It's bad, man.
CCJ? Bad
Okay,
like
no,
what?
I preempted your question. It's bad in the sense that it's so unnecessary.
Hmm.
That's why it's bad. And it's bad in the sense of it's just, yeah, it's just so, you know what it is for me, it's the amount of money that the government are making through giving and issuing people with CCJs. Last
Hmm.
quarter, not even for the year, in 2023, for one quarter, 700 million pounds worth of CCJs were issued. 9 times out of 10, that's going to be a parking ticket. You can only get a CCJ from a
Let's
parking
not
ticket
talk about
if it's
parking
private
tickets. That's
land.
personal. Let's not talk
Yeah,
about
but I feel like you abuse the council parking tickets, not so much private land.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's different. They're
Okay.
going to be chasing you and they're going to be hounding you, obviously, if you don't pay, for example, but
Yeah.
you're not going to get a CCJ.
Okay.
Private land now, because this is now like an agreement between you and the owner of that land or whatever, they are in a position to basically give you a CCJ.
Mhm.
Obviously, if you don't pay something, and then as we know, if it's less than £10,000, if I owe you money and I don't pay you, you can give me a
Mhm.
CCJ. But bottom line is the court papers come through and they say you've got 14 days, 28 days to acknowledge this court paper, etc., etc. Wash your side of the story. And people are just ignoring the letters,
Mm.
burying their head in the sand, thinking, oh, let me just ignore it, CCJ. And now, from your perspective as well, when we're thinking of something like a mortgage, if you are dealing with 5 lenders, the number of lenders that you've got to choose from that are going to accept you, A, with a CCJ, or the rate that they're going to offer you with that CCJ in place, definitely think credit's changed a lot over the years. Back in the day when you had adverse credit, it was a lot harder, whereas now I feel like lenders are more flexible in terms of what they offer. Not
Mhm.
saying that it's great, but there's more
But you can
flexibility.
still,
You
because that's a,
can still, yeah.
I think that is a misconception that some
Yeah.
people, once they get a CCJ, they're like, well, I've got to write my next 6 years
Yeah,
off.
that's it. I'm done for. Like, there's
Yeah.
nothing can be done. And now in this modern day, I would say, no, you're not. But the cost of having, for example, a £285 CCJ on your account versus what you're now going to spend in fees because you didn't bother to acknowledge the CCJ is wild.
Yeah.
Is
And I
wild.
think also another thing that people don't know is if you do, let's say for whatever, you were on holiday, you missed the court papers, you missed it,
Yeah.
there is still something you can do if you've just got a CCJ, right?
100%, even if you haven't just got it.
Mm.
So a lot of my clients, they, for example, because I will do CCJ applications and appeals for them, but like free gems, go to Northampton County Court, file an N244, and that allows you to basically make an application to get the CCJ reversed.
Also, you can
You can
potentially.
100% appeal it, either one day after receiving the CCJ. You can appeal it, sorry, right up until the 6 year mark. I usually say that in the last year, it's not worth it because you're literally counting down the number of months before it's then taken off. First of all, if you are in the 6th year of a CCJ being present on your credit report, still have a conversation with the company. Don't think that just because it's the 6 years, that's it. You're out there free from the CCJ because the court or the company, sorry, can sell that debt to someone else and they can slap you with a CCJ. So definitely communicate with whoever you owe the money to, put in place some sort of payment plan or argue in your defense if you don't owe them the money. So that's number one. If it's anywhere between day one and year five, 100% appeal the CCJ. If it's been sent to the wrong address, if there's certain circumstances, if they haven't sent you all of the paperwork, there are a number of reasons why you can appeal a CCJ. Main thing that you have to consider is it's not whether you owe the money, it's whether the court's judgment is fair.
Hmm.
So forget the fact that you might owe the debt. Forget the fact that you didn't pay these people. Sometimes you haven't paid them because they genuinely didn't send you the paperwork to
Yeah.
pay them. That's not fair that you're now issued a court judgment for 6 years and you're penalized when you're more than happy to pay someone, but they're just not doing their end of the bargain by sending you the paperwork. So yeah, definitely appeal it, number one, and don't think that you can't get credit if you've got a CCJ for number two.
Yeah, some, I think a lot of people do just get the CCJ and they think,
That's it. I'm written off
I'm done.
financially.
I'm
I'm
done. I
done
can't even
for.
tell no one. And I think it's good. I think a lot of people don't know that you can actually potentially,
Yeah.
in the right circumstances,
Yes.
get them removed. Also, I think if you pay, say for example, it's something quite small
Yeah.
and you're in a position where you can manage the amount,
Yeah.
even if you're in dispute, if you pay it within the first 30 days, I believe,
Yeah, they'll take it
gets
off.
removed.
100%. Yeah. So if you don't acknowledge the paperwork, but they issue you with the CCJ within the first 30 days, 100%, if you pay it in full, you can get it removed. So, and a lot of the time, you can actually, another bit of the work that I do, it can be quite complicated, which is why sometimes clients will come to me because they're like, Ellie, you just deal with it. But a lot of the time, if you are willing to take ownership of the debt, you can actually negotiate with the other company and say, look, I've filed an appeal. This is what I owe you. This is what I'm happy to offer you to settle the balance. But in receipt of that, will you now reverse the judgment? Because if it's got as far as it going to the courts, that company knows that there's a possibility that that judgment might be removed anyway. Better they get their money and remove it.
Okay, so that's actually a service that you provide as well, that you
100%.
can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So I'm sure there's going to be some people reaching out to you.
Yeah, it's
they might
funny,
be
I get a
reaching
lot
out
of
to you from
clients.
like their burner account
Yeah,
first.
yeah, they don't want to admit it.
They don't want to say it
Yeah,
straight like, no, I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah. Not me, but someone I know. But yeah, funny enough, I get a lot of people, they're right at that point because they haven't bothered to check their credit report. They haven't bothered to stay on top of their credit. And then now they're at the point of buying a property or they're looking to invest and they're like, I'm literally at that point where I'm ready. And I've just realized I've got a CCJ because the lender told them. They didn't even find out. Now it's like, okay, right, now we've got to find 12 weeks to make sure that we get this removed. So now you can get the rates that you wanted to get. So